tying into that emotional play and actually connect, be genuine, and listen. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Kevin Jacob here for Build Vision. If you guys are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. I'm basically a digital marketer and creative human being who just got sick of society telling me that I can't necessarily do things or make money from things that I enjoy expressing. And so I flipped it on its head, and now I'm teaching everybody, as many people as I possibly can, how to actually make a living from doing what they love and live life on their terms. So if you guys are interested in learning more about how you can actually use digital marketing tactics in photography to use new age solutions and things like that, make sure you subscribe. Today's video topic is going to be having to do with actually that client process, the initial meeting, how you can brief them, set expectations, ask proper questions to get the info that you need, as well as make them feel comfortable so that, the whole process interaction between you as the person conducting the service and the actual client is going to run smoothly, seamlessly, and just call for you actually enjoying the process and not dreading talking to the client or briefing them and being worried about the pricing that you're going to present to them and things like that. And I'm also, make sure you guys are going to stick around until the end of this video, because I'm going to give you, when I was actually doing my services entirely and what I still do to this day, my entire process for consultations and how I actually go about doing that. So make sure you stick around and watch that. But let's just jump right into it. I made this little graphic for you guys, so I want to kind of frame the situation to where you can see exactly what I'm talking about with this mindset of, what you should actually be thinking when you go into consulting your clients, and what you actually need to be having in the back of your head and what you make sure you need to have a checklist to cover. So obviously, starting with these key points that I have written on the side, start with the end in mind. You want to make sure that you're continuously referring back to something that's going to give value to this client, and what, if you have multiple packages, what package is going to fit them best, going to suit their needs. You really want to listen and just take into consideration that all the information that you're gathering right now is going to have to actually implement into a product or service that you're going to offer to solve this solution, solve this problem, or be the solution to solve this problem for your client. So set up the expectations is going to be the next point. And now this is one thing that is often overlooked, and I have one of the most difficult times explaining this to people and photographers in general. Really, expectations are key. Now, you want to set expectations that are going to be incredibly high. However, you don't want to exceed your own. Like, I'm going to, do this so incredibly. Yes, do it so incredibly and exceed expectations, but don't tell the client every single little thing that you're going to do. And I don't mean hide things from your clients. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is leave yourself some room to actually exceed expectations, because when you exceed expectations, that's when you get referrals. That's when you get people coming back, giving you reviews and raving. So set expectations clear from the gate, and kind of always having that in the back of your mind that you're going to exceed those expectations, or you're going to add something on top, whether that be, an additional photo that you throw in, whether that be just you being super nice and exceeding the expectations of customer support and customer service on updates and things like that. But just always set expectations, be clear and concise, give a step-by-step, this is what's going to happen, and outline it for your actual client. What we don't realize a lot of times as photographers, because there's no rule book, there's no manual, that we are actually the guide in this. We are the one conducting the service. We are the one who's actually expected to have these professional mannerisms and professional outlines so that the process is detailed and easily accessible for the actual client to go through and not feel confused or feel like they're, just handing over their money to somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Moving on to the next point. Connection versus conversation. This is going to be huge because it's tying into not only selling and when the actual decision of purchase comes about, whether the client is going to feel that you are the right fit for them or not, but also it's really just setting and making it so that your work is going to translate a lot more so that they can cherish these photos and you're actually producing a better quality of work. So you want to actually ask questions that are going to play in with the emotional aspect of what they're feeling about what it is that you're going to conduct, or how they want to feel about certain instances that you're going to so say for instance you're doing a wedding, and you want to play on the emotion that they're getting married, they're excited, and they're going to be able to look at these photos. Of course I've said this in many videos, but really you're going to play on that memory aspect and be able to create this picture in their head before you even take pictures, but really just, you're going to be creating pictures twice, both in their head and on actual canvas or print, whatever. But really, you want to actually tie in emotionally and get something to where when they're talking to you, they feel good and they're excited about it. And then what they're going to do is actually associate that to you and your service. And then it's just going to be a better relationship than if you say, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be a framed picture. And, it kind of ends there. So make sure you're tying into that emotional play and actually connect, be genuine, and listen, which brings us to the next point, listening and determining. You are the professional, you are the guide. You want to ask these questions and listen, really listen and see, what is this going to do for my client? Is this going to be the right package? Is this going to benefit them? And a lot of times I even tell my students and other photographers that I teach, it's, some people just aren't the right fit and some people aren't meant to work with you. And that's why you should create ideal audiences and, not say yes to everything that jumps at you. The reason being is because you'll put yourself in a position where it's just miserable, and you have to, take into consideration the fact that you have this passion for photography and you don't want to ruin it because you have a client that's not going to be, benefiting you or making you actually express your passion. So you want to determine their best outcome and suggest and not necessarily push it on them, but really just, let them understand that you are the professional and this is kind of your wheelhouse. And if they want to work with you, it's time to get serious. We're not playing no more. And then the importance of simplicity. So you want to keep it as straightforward as possible. Outline the steps of each process. So on this day, 3 days later, whatever, you're going to get an email. I'm going to be editing the photos from this time frame to this time frame. I'm going to be there at this, all of the details, even if they're super meticulous and small, it may sound like it's just redundant information, but really the client will feel better knowing that you're going to actually share all these details and you're going to be transparent than having to guess or wonder. Like I said, you can always over give. However, you can't necessarily give more or try to make them like if I was a client, I would definitely want my person actually giving more information than I need, to where I'm kind of annoyed with them that they're giving me so much information rather than not knowing what I'm doing, especially if it's a significant event in my life. So take that in consideration. Outline the exact timeline and steps, of course, as I was saying, what it is that you're going to do. Don't feel the need to hide things from your client. If you need more time, tell them that you need more time, but just be completely honest and open about it. And don't try to rush things. Really take your time to outline and showcase everything. So I would say, of course, do that beforehand. And really just take it from your previous shootings or how long you actually think it will do, and then add some time on top of that just to give yourself some room. You never want to be rushed. Now, of course, the bottom point, as I said before, you are the guide. So make sure that you are the one who's leading. You're the one who's giving them the value and educating them on the actual service. So some key components before you actually meet face-to-face with the client. We are going to go into the graphic that I created in just a second, but you want to send the pricing beforehand. You don't want the pricing to be a secret. A lot of photographers will have this, I'll meet with them in person and then they can have it. No, what I like to do is I send them the pricing beforehand, before we even meet, and have any form of consultation, whether that be on phone or in person. And the reason being is because you want to be that transparent. And also, I used to get this weird anxiety feeling if I would keep the prices to myself, getting there and then having to present it and not be as genuine. Whereas if I just present it, it's like, yeah, okay, they know what they're interested in, and it also refines it faster so that I know if they're serious about actually, becoming a client and becoming a customer versus not. So I would definitely suggest that. So let's go into this actual graphic. I'll move over, and this is really just outlining kind of the process that goes on with clients as a photographer. So of course you have the 3 phases of basically just the client purchase process, the client nurturing process, awareness, consideration, purchase. Of course, there's different forms of each, and there's different aspects that play a role in each. But for my example, what I'm going to give the actual story of how I usually go about doing consultations for clients. It starts with the awareness phase, so I'll do social medias, and what I have in parentheses is farming. So farming is going to be commenting on things, engaging things, following people. It's going to be, Instagram influencers, doing things that are going to be promotional, however, just tying back into my brand so people are seeing my content, they're getting more familiar with me. The consideration phase, this is where you kind of email them. You kind of bring into a template, which I have, which maybe check the link below, because it may be linked below for you guys to get this email template that I have for free. First link in the description. But anyway, if you guys don't want that, it's no big deal. Just what I would say for emails is really construct something that's going to be straightforward and be positive, congratulate them, get them to a situation where you're making more of a connection in regards to not just being some influencer on social media or a photographer on social media. Make it a little bit more real. So you actually want to email and contact, and in the consideration phase, they're going to be going through all their options, seeing what they have to play with. And this is actually where the consideration and consultation phase starts. So you are going to have all these testimonials and kind of ideas that you can play on in the awareness phase and showcase some of your work, showcase some, your style and whatnot. But then the consideration phase come in, and actually you start to be seen as a person rather than a profession, if that makes any sense. And so if no reply, of course, follow up, but really just take the time to actually showcase that you're interested, and not necessarily pitch, but make them aware that you do what you do. And so then in between the consideration and purchase phase, which with the purchase phase, you guys are going to want solid contract that's just going to cover you. So I had a student today who asked me a question about raw files, how one of their clients wanted raw files instead of the edited files. And they got super confused, and I was like, well, in your contract, do you have anything about, giving raw files? And they're like, no. And so obviously you don't have to do things that are outside of the contract. You agree on a contract, you do those things, and then if they want, additional, you can charge more and not feel bad about that. But really make sure you guys have a solid contract, and that's just a little side note. But within the actual in-person consultation, so once you kind of get them to agree, you send them the pricing, and you want to learn a bit more about them and what it is that you're going to actually shoot for them or potentially shoot for them. You want to establish clear goals, so you guys can kind of see down here, establish clear goals, the logistics of what the actual shoot's going to entail, and where the setting, the equipment, the desired shots, and kind of their scene for what they've painted in their mind. Because a lot of times with clients, they actually have this picture of what it is that the photographer is going to do in their mind. So see what that picture is and where you kind of fall in that and play on that. Clarify the roles. So of course you clarify that you are the photographer, they are the client. You are going to handle everything. You can make it so that they have less stress, less worry, and you're going to make sure that you capture the proper role and the proper essence of a photographer. Showcase the presentation, so you can showcase, galleries, you can showcase portfolios, albums, so many different things, but you just really want to take the time to actually go over some of your skill set, and you can even talk about some of the details, making it so that you're getting a bit more credibility. And next is going to be the payment details. So you can always do a retainer fee for if they actually want to book. You can do all money up front right there. I mean, of course, this is on an individual basis, but you do want to just cover the payment details, make sure that everything's set and squared away so there's no awkward conversations later on. Date specific project details. Of course, as I just said, make sure you're getting everything tuned in to where you can actually plan it and schedule the date. They can actually, like I said, that retainer fee is going to help you out, because if they schedule a date, you're still going to get a little bit of portion of money if they cancel. And really just try to find that groove of getting all the details properly and create your own process for how you're going to do so. And again, that's not necessarily playing on the who of that person and trying to connect. That's kind of, okay, let's talk about the shoot a little bit. Kind of discuss the final product, what it is that they're saying, as I said, and where you can actually make things and take mental notes. You can even write it down while you're there, but really take notes and take this seriously. Make sure the client feels like you're actually listening and caring and trying to gain as many details as you possibly can. That's really the biggest thing that I will tell you guys with consultations, is try to make the client feel like you genuinely care about fixing one of their problems. In this case, not having photos and not having the right photographer to capture the moments that they're truly going to cherish. So make it feel like you really, really care about them as a person, and you're going to actually fulfill their needs. And I'm telling you, you guys will have customers like no other. Now, how I usually do it, I will, give my story with an email and congratulate them if it's a wedding or something like that. Make sure that I'm giving praise and kind of setting the tone for who I am and what I feel about the whole situation. And then I will send the pricing, and you can see more here, or if you want to view my galleries, go ahead and click this link. and then schedules, blah, blah, blah. And then I also usually will send them a link to actually a calendar where they can schedule a meeting. And that's usually like an in-person consultation where it'll be a coffee shop, or I've done it at libraries. I've done it at some interesting places, but I suggest a coffee shop. It's super easy, super simple, casual. You can bring in, your galleries, your albums, whatever it might be, and nobody will even look at you, think twice. This is an interesting portion. I don't ask what I can get for them. I say, what will you be having? And so I make sure that I purchase the coffee for them. Regardless, they're giving me their time. They're giving me, they're really coming to hear me explain why I should be their photographer, and if we're a good fit. So just for that in the consideration, make sure that you guys purchase their coffee and make it so, like I said, they feel their needs are being met and you're exceeding and you're just continuously providing for them. I begin to connect with the emotion, like I said, so play on some stories of, if I know another shoot that I went to that was shooting, for instance, if it was a wedding, I tell stories about that. I tell stories about how happy everybody was, or, my experiences, anything like that that's going to tie in emotionally. I begin to show the diversity that I have. So, different clients or just different styles from my social media, to be like, yeah, I did this. And like I said, give more details as to actually the skill set you contain as an artist. Ask their timeline of the shoot, what it is that they're most concerned about, or where they feel there's a huge portion of time that needs to be met and actually tended to. Find out, again, just their preferences, things like that. I exclude myself sometimes. This is an interesting point. When I actually make the prices. So for instance, when I slide them a piece of paper that showcase again the prices, and you can do this by just printing out something, or you can just tell them the prices. And once you tell them the prices, be like, okay, excuse me, I'm going to use the restroom. And what this does is it makes it so it's not as awkward where you're staring them directly in the eye, but it gives them the actual opportunity to really think about it, really feel you out, process everything in their minds. They will have already made a decision the second you leave, but it just takes a second for their mind to actually process everything that was just, absorbed through your incredible pitch and your incredible body language and mannerisms and, whatever it might be. Once I come back, I make sure, that I address their concerns. Everybody's going to have concerns. Even if they're ready to purchase, they're going to say something just so that they don't look like they're too desperate for, it's so funny because it sounds like a relationship, which it is, but not romantic. But really, see if you can address some of their concerns right off the bat. Everybody's going to have concerns, and just, try to cover them right then and there. Give them time. Concern that a lot of photographers come to me with is that, it's been 3 days, it's been a week, and I haven't heard anything back. And what you do is you follow up. You don't do anything that's going to be rash or crazy, or say, oh, I'll give you this discount, that discount. But no, you just check in and, I hope you're doing well. Was thinking about the wedding, blah, blah, blah. Bring up, again, that story that maybe you told, or, something that's going to tie into you being more than just the photography salesman, but you actually being a person that wants to capture and fulfill their needs. And when you're there, like I said, just kind of go through and outline this. If you guys want to screenshot this, feel free, but really it's just about making them feel like a person, and like the event that is so special to them is so special to you as well. So just establish all of the right details, set the proper expectations, do things to make it so that you stand out from a crowd of people, or photographers in this case, that go to them and just say, here's what I do, these are my prices, do you want me to do it or not? And I'm telling you guys, you will see incredible returns. I appreciate you guys watching so much. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment. I will be producing more videos for you guys, I promise. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.